America Meditating Blog Talk Radio Show. We collect wisdom, hear stories, and inspire each other. I'm Sister Jenna. Tune in live from Monday through Friday at 8 a.m.
And blind, Helen Keller overcame her world of darkness. Foresight, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
I'm Ivy Hilton, and you are listening to America Meditating Radio Show.
America Meditating Radio Show. Tuning to love as we grow. There's nothing more to do than call on you.
Welcome to America Meditating Radio. I'm your host, Sister Jenna, and we're broadcasting from the beautiful Meditation Museum in the nation's capital. And we've got number 2 on their way, and we have been enjoying the newness and the vitality of the community without a doubt. That was our wonderful friend Kristen Hoffman from her CD Love and Gratitude, and Kristen's in San Francisco this week, so we're hoping that you can go out there and really participate in her peace concert, which is going to be exceptional. Loved being with India Ari, who's also in town in Baltimore, and we're asking you all to really go to an India Ari concert. I spiritually screamed and had the most incredible time of my life. And I remember telling India, it's the best concert I've ever attended. And please note to all my other friends who have attended your concert, I really mean that one. It was so elevating and yet celebratory. And what I loved about India is that she was just natural. She wasn't staged, and it was like just a family concert. So please go to her website and find out where she is. If she's in your town, if she's anywhere nearby, please just let them know Sister Jenna said that you had to go to this concert, and I'm sure they'll also look out for you. But we want to celebrate artists like these that are positively uplifting humanity through their music and through their art. I'm not knocking artists that are really living out the passion of their true stories and, accept that life does have its ups and downs and that it's very important for there to be profanity and very harsh expressions of how they relate to the opposite sex. I think that's fine for you, but I do want you to know that it adds to the violence in our country. It adds to the violence in the minds of our youth. And so please carry on with your talent. However, please see if you can integrate some of these positive messages without profanity, without putting down the value of a woman, without talking about how hard it is in the urban areas or in the communities. I think we're moving towards a time where we have to raise the bar of consciousness until it reaches that level where we don't even remember that we once suffered, because the recording of the new recording of the goodness and the charity and the beauty and the strength and the courage is just so overwhelming. It's much more stronger than what we were accustomed to. Stay tuned. We're going to have Karena Virginia, who's got the power of Kundalini Yoga with her. She's just released something new, and I don't know if you know this, but in 2012 there was a study that indicated 8.7% of U.S. adults practice some form of yoga. That's over 20 million Americans who call themselves aspirational yogis. So it's a huge market. And I don't want to look at yoga as a market or something commercial, because back in India it is something extremely sacred and very, very important to recognize. So when it comes here to the West, it is an invitation for the mind to recognize that it is something very meaningful and very sacred that would make us more effective as people in our world. We don't have to go off to the jungles and try to find ourselves, but we can stay right here in the concrete jungle and align ourselves physically, but more than anything else mentally. We do tend to laugh at our own stuff, right? And yoga always has these funny connotations of tying yourself up in knots. I mean, I used to crack up when I used to be like, someone help, I can't unknot myself. Just these little things that we do. But it is very sacred, and it reminds me of a yogi that was at the door of a salesperson. Well, actually, the salesperson came to the door of this yogi, and he asked the yogi that he's here and he would like to sell him a product, which was vacuum cleaners. And so the yogi looked at him very peacefully and said, I'm not into vacuum cleaners. They have too many attachments. And he kind of closed the door on that. We think that attachments are something physical, but it's not. Get the vacuum cleaner. Just don't get attached to the vacuum cleaner. That's what that's about. And I think that when we participate in any spiritual practice, meditation, yoga, there are so many varieties of yogas in the world today. The right one will suit you when you feel it. And then you might even go through the motion of that practice for a year, 5 years, 10 years, and find yourself no longer feeling that it serves you. Why? because there's something else that's opening up for you, and it's calling you, and that helped you to get to that point. So to know that it's okay to shift in the consciousness. We're in a cycle, so we don't lose anything. We're passing through everything. Before I get Karena on the line, I want us to do what we do best here, and that is to go into our zone of meditation. And from our Just a Minute meditation CD, here's Rising Above. Breathe in deeply, relax, and let's elevate.
Rising above. Taking just a minute. I imagine stepping into a hot air balloon. The balloon slowly lifting up into the blue sky. Looking down, I see the picture of my life. Any problems seem so small. I take this moment to enjoy silence, peace, and to rest my mind. As the balloon gently descends, I return to my day with a quiet and peaceful mind.
Karena Virginia is an inspirational speaker, spiritual coach, intuitive healer, and a Master Kundalini Yoga teacher certified in Hatha and Kundalini Yoga. Karena's been teaching for nearly 20 years throughout the United States and Europe. And she began her path as a spiritual teacher while working in the entertainment industry as an actress and model, and recognizing that heart-centered compassion was her tool for real happiness. Karena believes we're living in a profound time where living through the heart with grace, peace, truth, and light is the surest path to manifesting the life of our dreams. Now, she served as a member of the Oprah Winfrey Network's Belief Team, which was a community of individuals from diverse spiritual, cultural, and faith backgrounds, which came together around OWN's Belief TV series to engage in global dialogue. Karena also created the highly acclaimed yoga video entitled Abundance and Miracles, and her latest video entitled The Power of Kundalini. And today I have my beautiful friend on the air. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you so much, Sister Jenna. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
It's so nice to have you back on.
I love it, and I love what you had to say. It was really nice to sit here and listen to the music and listen to Rising Above, and it's very uplifting.
We're getting closer, I feel that as we continue to hear stories of violence and terrorism and hate and all the language that perhaps marketers or publicists think that it attracts our attention, I think that as we keep, gently bringing in the truth, the real divine story, it will touch the minds of people. And people will naturally start to move away from that languaging, going, why do they keep talking about that? And I've seen that is happening. So looking at even your life, where you've been in the entertainment industry, you've been a model, and you've been out there in a world that does sort of publicize a kind of language that tells us to be outside of ourselves. What was it that started Karena to come from the inner beauty of herself, knowing that was going to make the outside better?
Wow, that's a great question. I think I learned how to love myself, and I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't live in a place that didn't nurture me for who I was. I could play the role very nicely, but I was so out of my alignment that I felt as though I was suffocating. And I needed to listen to the calling, and I needed to allow myself to go really deep into my heart and be 100% present for myself in order to live my destiny in service to the divine. And it was not an easy choice to make at all. There were many triggers that came up along the way. I had a very successful career, and I was constantly reminded by people that I was leaving something that was such a a gift, and that so many people would just love to have this, and God gave you this gift. Why are you leaving it? This is your talent. This is what you're born to do. And that those voices just kept going over and over again in my mind. And I would just go into my breath and say, drop into my heart, drop into my heart. Karena, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. Listen to your own intuition. Listen to your own knowing. And I was in Los Angeles. I was doing some work in Los Angeles, and I had told a manager that I was working with that I was not going to be doing it anymore. And it was kind of, that look of, and I'm a people pleaser too, so that look of, what, are you kidding me? And also, you're disappointing us. And it almost changed me. I almost said, okay, fine, I'll stay. I'm making a mistake. Mm-hmm. But I didn't. Mm-hmm. I didn't. And I felt in my body that sense of ease in walking away. And then at the time, my little sister all of a sudden became Miss New Jersey and went into the Miss America pageant. She's very talented. She's got a beautiful singing voice. And we went to the pageant, and I went from, and I love my sister and I support her, and there's never been any jealousy or anything between us. We've always just wanted the absolute best for each other, and we were raised that way by European parents that was always family is everything. Good. So I was thrilled for her, but at the same time, I showed up at the Miss America pageant looking like an absolute mess because I had no idea that this was going to be this like big event, and the cameras were all over me, and they're saying, and her sister who used to be an actress, and I just such a loser. Like I can't, it sounds so awful, but put an L on my forehead, and I kept seeing, this was in New Jersey, which is where we live, and it was all because the Miss America pageant's in New Jersey. I kept seeing it all over the news, especially in Atlantic City where we were, or Ocean City where we were. It was both places at different times, but it was like there's me with this L on my forehead, and it was awful. It was awful, but it forced me to take that challenge, right, and shift it into an opportunity and dive deeper into my spiritual practice, because I knew in my heart of hearts that I was following the guidance from above.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that is amplifying more and more. Individuals are really listening to that quiet call. It's no longer matching the traditional choices that we've made, which I think were very important, but I feel that age has come to a close, and we're trying to go back to the age of innocence, which is really to match your personal specialities and treasures that are of your soul and of the making of your relationship between you and the divine. And if you trust in that and remain consistent, disciplined, determined, loving, and faithful, who you really were supposed to be in that part that you're playing now will reveal itself. And it might even end up to be better than you'll ever imagine. And that moves me to talking about the release of your new DVD called The Power of Kundalini Yoga. Would you have expected or even thought that you would be releasing a DVD on the power of Kundalini? And exactly, and so all the processes that you even went through to get there. And I would love if you could tell us a little bit more about the DVD and what is The Power of Kundalini Yoga.
So Kundalini Yoga is a form of yoga, very different than Hatha Yoga, where we're working with the 8th chakra as well as the 7 chakras that we have in Hatha Yoga. And the 8th chakra is the energetic body. So we're recognizing that there's an energy that is alive outside of us. And when we clear away our limiting beliefs, our triggers, any subconscious thought patterns that are not serving us, and we vibrate from a very high frequency in that energy field, we attract exactly what we're putting out. So we become very high frequency beings. And Kundalini Yoga is like a vehicle that can take you out of your darkness and out of your fear into your light and your love by doing the exercises. It's considered more of a science and a technology than it is necessarily a yoga practice, but it is still yoking the body, the mind, and the spirit. I've seen the most incredible miracles happen in people's lives who've committed to this type of practice. So
share with me one of those miracles, just so that we get an idea of how effective it can be.
Okay. Now, this is not something that's going to happen for everyone, but this is a true story. And one day I'd love to have this woman talk. Maybe you could even have her on your radio show. I had a student beautiful woman, and she had a very hard life and lost her son. And right after her son passed away, she was diagnosed with cancer. She had asked God to take her away because she was in so much pain, and a month later she was diagnosed with cancer. She ended up getting better and healing through chemotherapy at that time and changing her diet. But then the cancer 4 years later returned, and she came into one of my classes and said, I just thought yoga would be good for me, but she didn't realize. This happens a lot when people come to Kundalini Yoga classes. They think they're coming in for Anyasura or Vinyasa, and all of a sudden we're doing these weird breaths and weird movements. But she was very open, and she came in saying, I thought this would be a good thing for me to do. Well, the long and the short of it is that her cancer went into her breastbone. The cancer was stage 4, and the doctors told her to just be prepared for crossing over. And she did this practice. Now, I'm not saying that it was just coming to my class. I'm saying that she changed her thoughts. She changed her energy field. She dedicated her life to a positive mindset and a miracle mindset, and she did her work. She did her practice with incredible prayer, incredible bowing her head lower than her heart and asking God to please save her. She's completely cancer-free right now.
Wow, that's a great story. And I think that those things are saying incorporate stuff like that into your life because you have nothing to lose but everything to benefit, right? So now tell me about the DVD. Like, what can we expect in the DVD? Where can we find it?
It's at Target. It's on Amazon. It's at Best Buy. And it's called The Power of Kundalini Yoga. It's very accessible to purchase. I think the easiest way is just to go onto Amazon if you have an Amazon account. It's been re-released. It was originally the Abundance and Miracles DVD that I made, and then this beautiful company, Sounds True, came along and said, we'd like to buy this from you. And I said, yay, because I'm not really good at marketing myself. So these beautiful, beautiful people came along, and I just said, yay, here you go. So they renamed it, and they created the cover, and I think they did a great job. And they're really the ones who are getting it into these mainstream stores. Barnes & Noble is another place it can be found. And it is a little glimpse of the practices in Kundalini Yoga that I feel are the most accessible for everyone and that I feel are the most powerful. And it's an hour and a half long. There's also little clips on meditations that can be done, and there's a nice, long, deep relaxation with a lot of inspiration that is weaved through. So there's a lot of subliminal messages that are weaved through, and I do have some clients or followers that say that they put it on and they just listen to it. They don't even do the practice. And that's what's so powerful about it, too. I even have some people who are ill that come to class that lie on the floor, and just to be in the energy of that vibration, even just the sound and the music on it is so beautiful. And the sound, the sacred sound radiance of mantra is powerful in itself. But there's a lot of inspiration that's weaved through about the power of our thoughts, the power of our frequency, what we believe we receive, and how we can transform our minds from fear into that mindset and into that energetic vibration that the universe responds to with love.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Karena, you're doing some good stuff. Next year, I don't know if it's a tour you're on, but you've got events that are coming up around the country. I'd love for our listeners to know a little bit about that and how they can get more information on that. And I always love having you on the air, amplifying your stories. They're very positive.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be on the air with you as well. My website is KarenaVirginia.com. It's KarenaVirginia.com. I guess nowadays you can just Google a name, right? So most of the events are posted there. I also have a public Facebook page, and I'm really good about posting everything on the public Facebook page, more so than I am on my website. So everything should be available, and I'm hoping that I am accessible enough that people feel free to reach out to me as well and ask me any questions.
I've got one last question for you. With the work that you're doing and with the current state that our world is in, if you had the power to make the world and the lives of people much better than it is right now, what would you do?
If I had the power to do it within myself?
Yeah. If you had the power to initiate that kind of change that we all talk so beautifully about, wanting love and peace and happiness, share with our listeners, is there a way, have you ever thought of a way that it would happen if folks could just do it like this? Would it be just through Kundalini Yoga?
No. No, it wouldn't be just through Kundalini Yoga, no. It would be through incredible service. It would be through recognizing that our world is full of human beings that have many wounds and hold a fear that they learned from a very young age in their psyches, and that these acts of violence come from these incredible pains that people experience. And what I would do is open my heart so much and send so much love out, and so many tools that I have learned in my life, even since I was a very young child, that can help us to see that God is truly the one in charge. Angels are real. Love is the highest force in the universe. It's not just a statement. It's true. And I would have an opportunity to speak to some of these people who are very ill and remind them of their love, and that they were born in that vibration of love as well. They just learned fear. And that fear is so ugly. It's so toxic. But the power of love and the power of light and the power of prayer, the power of seeing ourselves in one another, the power of letting us all recognize that we're all full of shame and we all need to let go of that, is the power that can really, truly transform this world. So Kundalini Yoga is a tool, absolutely, and there are many great tools, and there are many amazing teachers out there that teach all different ways to get there, and I believe that everyone needs to find what works for them, that works for them to be able to open their hearts enough that they can love so deeply, get out of jealousy, get out of comparison, get out of competition, enter this new paradigm of accelerated light and live authentically in it.
Beautiful. Love that message. Karena Virginia, thank you for joining us back on the air again, and would love to have you in D.C. at some point.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Jenna. Thank you so much, and thank you all for listening, and I send my love to all of you.
Thank you, Karena. All the best.
You too, Sister Jenna.
So we have it in our own capacity to make a shift. It can happen in the most unique moments, where you're going to a beauty pageant for your sister who you love and support, and you just kind of went in your dungarees and your jogger short looking like a has-been, so to speak, and people look at you and that just wakes something up inside of you. You don't have to plan out when your shift is going to happen.